Hey, yo, what is up, everybody? What's going on? It's your girl, Jay, and it's time for another edition of Jay's Quick 3. So, I know it's been a minute since I've done just Jay's Quick 3 episode. I've done a lot of specials. I've done a lot of things with music, and we'll talk about all that a little bit later because I am going to get into it. But I am here for a regular Jay's Quick 3 episode. And if you're watching, what do you think? Right? Just trying something new. You know, I'm always trying to do a little something different. So why not, right? Why not expand a little bit? So if you're not watching, my logo is a little bit, my background is different than it normally is. Just again, trying something. So anyway, let me see. What have I been up to since the last time I've been here? Oh, I usually say, I'm already rusty. I usually say, I hope everyone is doing well. So I hope you are doing well. I'm late. It is Thanksgiving weekend. I really planned on recording on Thanksgiving because I really wasn't doing much. I ate, I slept, watched some TV, and then I was going to record and then have it out for my normal Friday, but it just didn't happen because I'm tired and I work. Like, I don't get the 4-day weekend. I'm not corporate. I don't get any of that. I'm not in the trenches because I don't work at a place where it's super busy, but I am in retail. So we're open Black Friday. And so I had to work. So I just wanted to go to sleep. And then I was like, okay, when I get off on Friday, I'm going to record. That didn't happen either. So Saturday comes around, which is today. And I was like, I might record and we'll see what happens. So I'm here. I'm recording. You may get this on Sunday. You may get this on Monday. I'm not sure, but we'll figure it out. I don't have anything really important to talk about like right off top. So we're just going to go ahead and get into these topics. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the show. So not a few months ago, back in October. Yeah. Right before, or was it November? In November. So earlier this month. Okay. God, time flies. 2020 really like jacked up my time concept. I have no concept of time, but yes, earlier this month in November, I attended AfroTech. So that's my number 3. AfroTech with my sister. So I had never really heard of AfroTech, didn't really know what it was. My sister called me and said, hey, I'm going to be in town going to this conference, this AfroTech conference. Do you want to come with me? And so I was like, yeah, I'm not doing anything. I guess, yeah, I'll take off work and go with you. Let me know what it's about or what's going on with it or whatever. She's not necessarily in tech, but her position allows her to work in tech. And so she was looking maybe to see what else is out there. So I don't work in tech at all. So I was just like, let me just see what they have out there. And then they had like different, what do you want to call it? Events and things like that. So I was like, why not? Right. So I go. And first and foremost, let me just say, right now I live outside of Austin, but I live in the Austin area and the Black population is just not big. I think I've already said that. Last I checked, which was years ago, I think it was an 8% Black population. That might have changed over the years, but it's not you don't see a lot of us around. Like, we're here, but it's just very sporadic. And I know there's certain parts of town that we have a bigger population, but where I live and where I've lived, it was just not big. So anyway, going to this tech conference, AfroTech. So it's going to be hugely African-American or, people of color or whatever there. And from just walking in to this conference in the convention center down in Austin, seeing the faces, like seeing people that look like me just everywhere. It felt good. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause you don't see that a lot. Like I live in a spot where, I'll be lucky to see, another Black person or someone that looks like me around town. And when I do see someone that looks like me, I notice that. I also notice when I'm the only one. So to go to this conference and look out at this sea of people, and these are professionals, CEOs, CFOs, COOs, young students that want to, go into this field, young engineers, young entrepreneurs. It's just a sea of just like Black excellence everywhere. So it was dope to see. So, my first impression was like, this is dope, right? So we go in, get our badges, and nothing was happening that day that we first got our badges. Our main day, which, I don't want to say pros and cons, but I guess I can give some pros and cons of this conference. So pros, one is, yes, my people everywhere loved it, right? The con was most of the stuff that both my sister and I were interested in attending was just all on one day. So it was like starting at, I think the first session was at 9 a.m. and the last event we were going to go to, I think started at 5 or 6 or something like that. I can't remember, or maybe even 7. And so we were going to be there from like around 8:30 a.m. to probably 9 o'clock p.m. that whole day. Now, if anybody knows anything about me, you know that I'm an introvert and I don't like the people like that. Like I can't, it's very difficult for me. It's very, not difficult. It's draining for me to be around that many people for that long. Like, yes, I work in retail. I'm around people a lot, but it is, I've been in the industry enough to work around that. Like, it's not people all day, all the time. I can take my breaks. I can go off by myself. I can go to the office and just kind of close myself off in there for a few minutes. I have my little hiding places where I can like recharge a little bit before I have to go and deal with people again. So there was nowhere to hide at this conference. So that was kind of a con, because everything was in that one day. And then you kind of had to pick and choose what you were going to do because so many things were going to be happening around the same time. Also, it filled up so quickly. So I'm trying to think. We got there, got our badges. So we got our badges and we wanted to walk around to kind of see where things were going to be. So you had things in the main convention center. Then there was going to be some stuff at the Hilton Hotel, which was right next door. And then there was a park. I can't remember the name of the park now, but down the street from the convention center and the hotel, there's a park there. And I should know because I've been living in the Austin area for 10 years now, but I just don't go down there like that. So I don't remember the name of the park. But was it? No, I don't remember it. I'm not even going to act like I do. But so we go down there to the park and they have food trucks there. And it was like a introductory mixer or something they called it, right? And they had trap bingo. So that was pretty cool. So we was there. They had the people who were in charge of the AfroTech and the people who ran AfroTech, and then some of the companies that worked with doing that. So Blavity, I think is the name of the company. They put on AfroTech. And so they spoke, a representative from that company spoke, and then they had trap bingo. So that was pretty fun. So as we're walking around eating, when they were doing like the introductory speech, they were like telling us, turn around and go meet 3 people, introduce yourself, say hi, and all this other stuff. So we kind of did that. That was pretty okay, I guess. And then they started playing the trap bingo. So it was 3 rounds, First round was trap music. The second round was R&B, and the third round was the choice of the audience. So y'all know already. Trap, I don't really know much about that. So I didn't know any artists. And the way it was, you would listen to music and then you would have the bingo cards were names of artists. So you got bingo by, getting the names of the artists. And if you got them in, diagonal or however you play bingo, up, down, diagonal, side to side, whatever. That's how you won. So of course I didn't get any people because I had no idea who those people were. And I believe, and I might be wrong, one of the artists that came out and actually performed was Travis Porter. I might know a song by them, but I really wasn't sure. They performed, didn't really know who that was. But y'all, I'm a little older. I don't really do trap music like that. So even though I think one of the songs I do know by them is an older song, but regardless, that ain't my bag. So they performed, whatever, right? And then it was time for the R&B. Now I knew every single R&B song before, like within 2 seconds, I was guessing the song. And my sister's like, how do you know that? You barely even heard the song. Like, I know what I know, girl. I know these songs. But of course, my bingo card had none of those artists on there. So I didn't win that either. But Jadena came out and he performed for the R&B part. So it was pretty cool and things like that. And you see like the Greek organizations were very present there. So some people were strolling and, stumping and doing all that stuff. So it felt like I was back on campus, to be honest. So it was a good feeling. We did that, went home. The next day, we get up early to go to one of our sessions. And we're like the session starts at 9, right? And we get there right at 9. We should have known better, but we get there, we're waiting in line. They're not letting people in because apparently it had been, it had been closed. Like whatever time people got there and filled it up, it was done. So me and my sister decided to go to a different session held by Expedia. So we sat in there actually, and I forget what company it was before Expedia. But we went in early because that session didn't start till like 11. We went into that conference room and watched that company speak and stuff like that. And it was cool to listen. It was about, you know what it was? I think it was Wells Fargo, if I'm not mistaken. Wells Fargo was talking just about the different advances they've made to technology with their company and stuff like that. And so, and then there was a guy that was there that has 30 or 60 something patents that he himself came up with that is used in technology today with some of these companies, mainly with Wells Fargo, because I think he's with Wells Fargo, but he's like one of the top, I don't know what you would call him, but with him having all these patents, he's seen as an innovator in his field. And that was pretty dope to see. Cause I mean, I don't know much about tech. So to hear and listen to people in the audience and him talk about the things he's created and he's innovated and invented was pretty cool. Cause you don't get to see that a lot. You don't see that, how Black people are excelling in their roles. You don't really hear about any of that stuff. So that one was a con to sit, a pro to sit there and, see that stuff. And then we heard from Expedia, and they have a partnership with another company, and I can't remember the name of this company, but they pretty much, I want to say it's called Green Book. And for anyone that knows what the original Green Book is, it was pretty much a kind of where to go map for Black people during the Jim Crow era, where you could go to be safe and where not to go at night, not to go during the day, not get caught there, where you could travel safely as a Black person. And we know how important that was back in those times. So they've kind of created that, but for traveling just around the world. So different countries, different places you can go where Black people go and they share their experiences, where this is a good place to go for family, for this or for that, or this is not the best place for us to be, and things like that. So I thought that was kind of dope to listen to. And then we went to the next one we were going to go to, I think it was held by Google. And again, we waited in line. We got there early. Waited in line. They let half the line in and then they closed it. And so I would say that con was that, yeah, you just couldn't get into a lot of places, even though some places you had to RSVP, some places you didn't. And it just, for my first experience, I just didn't know where to go. So I think they probably could have made it or spread it the events out or the breakout sessions out a little bit so you could participate a little bit. Especially if you're a new person, you don't know which company. Do I go to Google? Do I go to Expedia? Do I go to Salesforce? Do I go to Tesla or whatever company is putting on these things? You kind of don't know where to go. They're talking about AI over here. They're talking about music over here. They're talking about advances for women here. They're talking about, advances for Black people at this one. Like, it's kind of hard to pick and choose where to go. So that was kind of jumbled up, but I'm not going to go into super detail about everything we did, but yeah, that day was super long. What else did we do? We went down to where all the companies were, talked to a bunch of different people. That was exhausting. My sister was like ready to go. She's like, yes, here, this is what I do. This is my name here, blah, 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 blah. I was like, after my 12th person, I was like, yo, I'm about to go sit down. I can't. I don't have the energy to talk to anybody else. Like, I'm tired. Like, we have 3 more days. Can we spread this out? My sister's like, come on, we got to go. We got to do this and this and this and this. So your girl was tired. So that's also a con on as far as my experience. I just could not. I couldn't. It was so many different companies there. And I just wanted to see like what they were looking for or what they offer, just to see just what that industry is about. Now, most of the places where they are looking for engineers, this is a tech conference. So you're looking for software developers and engineers and things like that. Not necessarily people in my field, but it doesn't ever hurt to, put your name out there and put the feelers out there and just see what's available. Nothing's wrong with that. So I got a lot of go to the websites, not necessarily, hey, I'm really interested in talking to you and things like that. I saw Zaytoven, who I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's a producer. He was having a session inside the huge spot where all the companies were. He was talking about AI and music. I listened to that for a little bit. And then he was just walking around the conference. I saw him a couple of times. I got to meet Nafisa Collier from the Minnesota Lynx. That's WNBA basketball for y'all that don't know that. That was pretty cool to see her there. Took a picture with her, saying something stupid because that's just I'm awkward and that's what I do. Like, I really need to work on what do you say when you meet a celebrity or, someone that, is kind of high profile, even though a lot of people may not have known who she was. Because of course we know WNBA is not like super popular, but what do you say? So what did I say to her? Because I'm like, the season's not on. I can't say anything about good game or anything like that. So I'm like, or the reason why I know who she is because I was looking up some stuff on Asia Wilson, and it said on her Wikipedia that Asia used to have a podcast called The Tea with A&F, and Nafisa was her co-host. Like, they both had this podcast together. So I started listening to it. It ended, I want to say the end of 2021 or the beginning of 2022, somewhere around there. But I had went back and listened to like all these episodes that they had. And that's how I knew who she was, because then I started looking her up and stuff like that. So I recognized her. So when I go to her, I say, I've listened. What did I say? Hey, I listened to you and Asia's podcast. And she's like, oh, that was so much fun to do. And then we just take the picture. It was very like weird and just like, girl, can you just say hi like a normal person? Like, why do you have to be so weird and awkward? Hey, I listened to that podcast that you and your friend used to have 2 years ago. Like, I don't know. That was the first thing that came to mind, because literally I had just finished listening to the last episode of their podcast maybe like a month ago. So that was fresh on my mind. I don't know. But anyway, let me see what else happened. We went down to that park again. There was some other stuff going on down there. I went to a Poetry Me event held by, who was holding it? Microsoft had a poetry event, and that was pretty dope. That, again, sea of black people on the stage. It's been so long since I've been to a poetry slam. It was dope. I met 2 people online, KT and Damien, and we became like, we were family, we said. So we wanted to make sure we got good seats and someone hold the seats while someone else goes and get food. We bought each other drinks all night. We kicked it. We had a really good time. My sister went to a singles event. So I couldn't, by the time I was going to go, it was full. So I ended up going to this poetry event, which was actually down, further away from the convention center. We had to take an Uber because it's on the other side of a major freeway. It just so happens that both of our events were around the corner from each other. So that was pretty cool. But we had, it was a really, really good time. That was fun. That was the last event of the night. I was tired. We went the next day, did some more like walking around, talking to different companies. I went to an HBCU mixer. That was cool. Free food and drinks. So of course I don't eat meat, so it wasn't a whole lot for me to eat. I had some nachos and what else did they have? That was it. And people were like carrying around food with nothing that I can eat because it had dairy. But drinks free, food free, talked to a couple people. I didn't see anybody from PV there, but it was a cool event. But again, I was already, like, that day before had drained me. So overall, like, we walked around. We only went those 2 days. The other days were kind of like more happy hours, mixers, day parties, things like that. They had a brunch, but we didn't go to that because I was considering going to my homecoming. My school's homecoming, Prairie View A&M University, was that Saturday. So I was going to go to that, but I was so tired I didn't even end up going to that or anything like that. So overall, AfroTech, I think it's a good experience. Now, will I pay $800 to go? No, probably wouldn't do that. Well, I won't even say probably. That's not something I would do. I didn't pay to go this time at all. That was a gift from my sister. Shout out to her. But I think I saw tickets for students were like $325 or $324, but it was cool. If it didn't cost that much, if I can get in for like $100, $200, maybe, I would definitely go. But there were so many events that general admission couldn't go to. Even though if you paid $800, you still didn't have access to everything. And then you couldn't get into certain like corporate level events, like seeing Issa Rae, I think Marseille Martin was there. There was one with Timberland was there talking about music and stuff like that. So you couldn't even get into those. So I think those tickets were like over $1,300, $1,400, something like that. I don't know. I'm not interested. So other than that being like a big job fair and a big like networking thing, I don't know if it'll be worth $800, but it was a cool event. And I talked way too long about AfroTech. I didn't think I would talk that long. So let's go ahead and get to my number 2. All right. Now my number 2 this week. So I was listening to a episode of Views from the 7. So shout out to Views. And they were talking about her. And the question was, I think Spence said, was her overrated? But what I got from it is she still relevant, right? So that brought me to thinking about music today and what makes music relevant, right? So I'm going to bring that up. Hold on, I have to change something here. There we go. What makes music or an artist relevant, right? So we live, and kind of what I explained to him as far as her is concerned, we kind of live in a microwave society, right? Where everything is quick, quick, quick. Everything is, this is hot today. It's cold in 30 minutes. Something else new and hot is happening. And I think a lot of us, or a lot of people that listen to music or like artists, have now become accustomed to expecting that. So yeah, we like this one song, but tomorrow there's something else new. Or if we don't hear from you in 2 weeks, we've forgotten about you. We've gone on to something else. It's just the way that like this environment has kind of molded us to be now. Like it didn't used to be that way. I mean, we could have an album come out, and I mean, similar to what I was talking to Autumn about when I was on her podcast. Shout out to Autumn the Aries, by the way. If y'all haven't seen the episode I was on talking about R&B music in 1994, go check it out. But I was talking about how Crazy Sexy Cool became one of the best-selling albums, but in the beginning, I think it had only sold 77,000 copies in its first week, which is not shabby, but it's not a million. And it continued to grow. It took about a year for it to reach, all the platinums. Like, I think it came out, I want to say November. I might be wrong. By January or February, it became like the platinum. And then over the course of 1995, it just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. People were still buying that album, not streaming it, going to purchase the album. So it took almost a full year for it to, really reach its height. And people don't have that attention span these days. So if someone drops an album and it might be hot for, a month, and then no one's thinking about the album. Now, charting is a little different these days. I've seen, them talk about Drake being on the top of the charts for all these weeks, and SZA being on the top of the charts for all these weeks, and Beyonce and stuff like that, which is great, but we're in a different era of music. So streaming is there, and I'm not taking anything away from these artists. Music is just consumed different. We have bots out now that will just continuously stream songs to keep them relevant or to keep them on these charts or whatever, right? You have, fans that have these streaming parties that, stream music over and over again. So it's different than, and even people will like just turn their, whatever their listening device is, turn that on, put it on mute, or turn it down and just play a song over and over and over again. That counts for something as well. So it's a little different than it was for us growing up. How we knew a song was hot or how an artist was relevant is whoever was riding down the street, whatever music they were bumping. If you kept hearing that same song in all these different cars riding down the street, you knew that was the song. Whatever song people were playing out at the cookouts, or whatever song they were playing while they're just outside on the porch. That's how we knew. And then as we get older, Video Soul is out. This is when I'm growing up. Video Soul is out. And then I believe they had a countdown on Fridays. Whatever was, hot on the radio through, requests and things like that. Now, sometimes, and I'm pretty sure this is common, you have that payola thing where record labels or whatever are paying these DJs on the radio to play their artist song over and over again. And if you hear things in repetition, that becomes kind of ingrained in your brain, and you think that's hot. So I mean, whether it's today or yesterday, or back in the day. I'm sure there were different tactics they used to kind of pump up certain songs or artists, but I do feel like it was a little bit more, I don't want to say realistic. What's the word I'm looking for? Authentic. It was a little bit more authentic back in the 90s, in the early 2000s, the 80s, 90s, things like that, where music really was consumed. People went out and made an effort to purchase that music. So the charts and the sales were pure. It wasn't a bunch of different things that you can do now to like fluff those numbers. And so, and then we stuck with the artists. Like, it wasn't just a song that we liked. We actually liked the artists and what they put out. So even we would buy albums without even knowing what songs were on the albums. It was just, that's just what we did. If Sade was putting out an album, I don't care. If I never heard a song on there, I'm buying her album. If Michael Jackson was putting out an album, I'm buying that album. TLC, SWV, the same thing. Like, once we latched on to an artist, we were buying those records. It just didn't matter. And of course, you can buy singles. They sold singles and they would have, sales off singles, but mostly it was albums. We would buy whole albums, not so much singles. And then of course, when iTunes and things start coming around, when you're paying 99 cents for just the song and downloading that or streaming or whatever, it changed it a little bit. But do you think I had to wait to hear what Janet Jackson was going to drop before I bought any of her albums? Now, some of her albums to me weren't the best ones, but I still have them in my possession because that's Janet Jackson. Yes, I'm going to go and purchase that album. Yes, I am. It's just the strength of those artists, and we knew they were giving us good product. I can't say the same for a lot of artists today. Now, I like her music. I do think she made a little pivot, and probably that's why there might be people that think that she's not relevant right now because she's not on, your timeline. Because that's another thing, or algorithm. Like, what you're interested in is how you determine, or how your algorithm is determined, or what, might have, become viral. So yeah, maybe a lot of people were feeling her, and if you liked it or interacted with that post, it's going to be on your algorithm, especially nowadays. Like, I can barely look at a video on TikTok before, and like my timeline is all full of whatever that was that I looked at, and I really wasn't even interested in that. So algorithms are a little tricky, but I think it is so customizable now. Like, it's really just based off what you like is how your algorithm goes. And a lot of people go off of what is viral, what is on their timeline a lot. And they have a kind of a one-sided view of what's going on. So you don't see her all the time on your timeline because maybe not everyone that you associate with is sharing her stuff or talking about her. But that doesn't mean that she's irrelevant, because she's been touring this whole time since her album came out. She's on tour, or was on tour with Coldplay. She just released a song with Foo Fighters. Her song Journey was released, and then the NBA picked it up for the playoffs this past year. So, I mean, she's out here doing things. It's just, is it interesting to the masses to where you would notice it? Probably not. So music and artists these days are we're just in a weird place, because there's a lot of popular artists out here right now I don't even know nothing about. I've never heard of them. I couldn't tell you a song. I don't know their names. And there might be a lot of young kids right now that's like, what? You don't know, MC so-and-so? No, I have never heard a song, because it's not something I'm streaming. It's not something that, we don't have like TRL and Video Soul and 106 and Park and things to like, Rap City, things where we can physically see and hear to know what's going on. Like, if I don't ever want to hear it from MC so-and-so, I don't ever have to hear from them, because I have the choice to get on my device and my streaming platform and listen to whatever I want to listen to without ever hearing from anyone else. And that's just where we are right now. So I think that's where people get R&B is dead. I think that's where a lot of people feel like what's going on with Jasmine Sullivan or her, or why isn't R&B as popular as it should be? It's just because we live in a society or an environment right now where the music is what you choose it to be. Like what you want to listen to, what you want your algorithm to be is what it is. And unless you open the door or go kind of search for that, it's probably not going to come to you. So I don't know. That's just what I got from it. But shout out to the Views for that content that I can talk about. All right. So now I've been talking for a minute. Now we're going to get into, you can see here, my number one is a new direction. What does that mean? So as I spoke earlier, I was talking about, it's been a minute since I've done like a real Jay's Quick 3 episode. I've been doing a lot of like special. Shout out to my girl Britt. We've done What's Your Top 10? Janet Jackson, What's Your Top 10 TLC songs? And I hope you guys go listen or watch those on my YouTube. But that's been fun to do. I think I did a special episode for Baylor dealing with music because he's trying to challenge me to R&B. Still waiting on that challenge, but things like that. And I haven't really just sat down and said, these are my 3 topics and talked about it as I usually do. So I just been thinking that I think it's time for a change. I don't know what that looks like. I don't really know. But I know when I started this podcast, when I started the journey into podcasting, I was always going to be true to myself. I was always going to do what I wanted to do and what was interesting to me. And I never wanted to be put in a box. I wanted to use this platform to be as creative as I can be, whatever that looks like, and to allow me to learn to do things that maybe I didn't know how to do. And I've done that. And so I just feel like Jay's Quick 3 is the flagship. It always will be. But I don't know if Jay's Quick 3 is going to look like it did when I first came out. Like, I don't want to call it a rebrand. I don't really know. I don't know, y'all. I haven't really thought about it. But I do know when I first came out with Jay's Quick 3, it was me being on the mic, picking some topics and talking about them quickly because I wasn't comfortable talking on the mic. I didn't really know what I wanted to say. So yeah, I would think that I was talking a bunch, and by the time I got done recording, it was 10 minutes. And as y'all just heard me, I talked about AfroTech for like 20 minutes. Because I'm way more comfortable on the mic now. And so I named it Jay's Quick 3 because it was 3 things. And I did talk about them really quickly. And my episodes didn't used to be more than like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Over the years, it's been longer than that. And, sometimes I don't have 3 things to talk about. And sometimes I'm like forcing myself to find 3 things to talk about. Sometimes I want to talk about 1 thing. Or sometimes I want to talk about 6 things. I don't know. And so I've been kind of using different avenues to be able to express myself. TikTok, I've done Jay's Quick 1 on TikTok before. I did a couple of, I don't want to say trial runs. I just tried it out just to see how that would go, which it went fine because I wanted, if I didn't have an episode out, maybe I can do a Jay's Quick 1 on TikTok and, keep people engaged and things like that. But I just don't know. But I do know change is coming. I'm feeling super creative. I'm doing more videos now, as you can see. And if you follow me or you're subscribed to me on YouTube, which you should be, if you subscribe to me, you'll see I'm doing a lot more videos. I'm learning more about, how to make these videos and doing different things. I've ventured into sports, which I did not plan that at all. I did not plan at all. That was not a sector that I wanted to go into. It wasn't something on my radar. I like sports. I watch sports, but it's just crazy that one day, after watching my Aces playing these playoffs, it was just something, a topic that I was going to cover and just say, I just want to talk about this, on my episode. But it wasn't something where I can do 3 different things. I was like, I'm just going to make a video or maybe even go live and just talk about my team. And the amount of like immediate like feedback I got, like the views are up, the comments are up, the subs are up just for me talking about that in my own way. I was like, oh, like all I'm doing is talking about my team. So, I mean, that's something I'm pursuing. I'm not going to have a sports show. I don't know anything. That's not where I'm going. I'm going to leave the sports shows to the people, but I am going to talk about my team. And, that's been exciting. So that's, this whole platform has definitely opened up things for me, opened up doors and allowed me to do things that I never thought. Being on video, hello, that's not something that I really thought. Like when I first started, I was like, let me do a YouTube page or the YouTube, channel, but I didn't know what I was going to do. And so that's why I went into podcasting. Plus, I didn't feel like I had the right equipment. I didn't really like me being on camera. That's not something still, honestly, that I'm pushing through that because seeing me on camera is different. I like to be behind the scenes, but I'm still pushing through. And, now I'm on video a lot. I think Kyle, shout out to 12 Kyle, had said like, for somebody who doesn't like to be on camera, you have a lot of videos on your YouTube. And he's right, because it's something that I'm just pushing through. I love editing videos. It's just something I love to do. And so I make the videos so I can edit. And yeah, I guess I don't have to be on camera, but it's just so much easier for me to just be on camera and just edit it instead of trying to find pictures and things like that. I guess I could do that. That might be coming soon. I don't know. But it's just been an adventure. And I just want to be able to create freely without any boundaries and to go into whatever direction I want to go into. And I just hope that my listeners and now people that are watching me are with me along the way. Like, I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to talk about topics. I just don't know if it's going to be Jay's Quick 3. I might change the name. I may not. I don't know. I don't know yet. Once I find out, I'll let y'all know. But I just felt like, I owe this to my listeners, to my diehard listeners that have been listening to the beginning. That's like, man, we haven't really had a regular Jay's Quick 3 episode in a minute. And what is she doing? So I'm not pivoting. I'm just expanding. I'm just whatever comes across my mind to do, I'm doing it. And that is the beauty of being independent, being a person that I do everything. I'm not signed to anybody. So if I want to do videos, I can do videos. If I just want to do audio, I can do that. If I want to talk about 7 things, I can do that. I want to have my branding on point. And Jay's Quick 3, although I love it, is not very quick. And sometimes it's not going to be 3 things. So I want to work on that and find the right, I guess, branding to go along with that. So hopefully my listeners, y'all are still listening and y'all still with me. And you may not like the sports, but I have music. You may not like the music, but I have random topics. You may not like the random topics, but I have entertainment. So it might be different things that I talk about that hopefully you guys are still interested in listening to. And to be honest, the reason why I haven't let a lot of audio out is because for some reason it takes longer for me to edit the audio than it is the video. Audio, I'm real particular. Like I'm really like, I said too many times, or I heard this, or I was breathing hard, or I coughed, or something like that. And so every little thing I'm trying to edit out. I'm trying to do better at not trying to be so perfect when it comes to that. But I know what I like to listen to. And so I'm just like, if I'm listening to this, I want it to be pleasing to the ear. And me coughing isn't pleasing to me. You know what I'm saying? So I cut it out. But yeah, so I don't know. That's why I haven't been putting a lot of audio out because it just takes a long time. Not that long. It used to take me way long to edit audio. Now, not as long, but I can edit a video. Probably I can do 2 videos at a time that I can do my audio. So it all depends on how long I'm talking as well. So anyway, I hope y'all are with me for the ride, for the journey. I still appreciate you guys for listening and watching. And if you're listening, go ahead and give me a sub on YouTube. I really can use that push. I would really appreciate it. Even if you don't watch me on YouTube, go to my YouTube anyway, hit the subscribe. If you're watching me on YouTube and you've never heard my podcast, you can go to my About page, click on my website. All my episodes are there. Go ahead and give me some listens. Go wherever you want and give me a 5-star rating. I think you can do that on Spotify, on Apple, I believe. All that helps me and I appreciate it. But those of you that have been with me since day one, or if you just started, I really, really appreciate you listening and watching. And we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time. So I hope y'all just, are with me for the ride, for the journey. All right. And that's all I have. That's all I have for this show. So we are going to get into, vibe of the week. The vibe of the week this week. Shout out to Victoria Monét. She's my vibe of the week. I just did a video and I meant to release the audio. I just didn't. I forgot. Sorry, y'all. I just did a video on my thoughts on some of the Grammy nominations that they just named a couple of weeks ago. Victoria Monét is number 2 in nominations. She has 7, and I think it's well deserved. I think it's way past due, but I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So one of the songs that I love that actually got nominated for a Grammy, I love the song to death. The name of the song is called Earth, Wind and Fire. The name of the song is called Hollywood, featuring Earth, Wind and Fire. It is on her newest album, Jaguar 2, and it's featuring Hazel and Earth, Wind and Fire. It's a dope song. It didn't used to be my favorite. It was like my number 3 on the album, but the more I kept listening to it, I was like, this is a jam. Like, it's probably my number 2 on the album, if I'm going to be honest. And my numbers keep changing, so who knows? But I'm going to let y'all listen to a little bit of Hollywood by Victoria Monét, featuring Earth, Wind and Fire, and her baby, Hazel. That song is, I love it. I love it. Victoria Monét does retro. I keep calling it retro, but she does that so well. Like Earth, Wind and Fire and her together on this song. And then you hear Hazel at the end laughing. By the way, shout out to Hazel. At 2 years old, she is the youngest Grammy nominee in the history of music. She said, "Blue, hold my apple juice." But that's dope. Like Blue, Hazel, 2 young Black queens to be, right? Being Grammy nominated, and Blue has a Grammy, and she might have more than one, I believe. I don't know. We'll see if Hazel can get her one, but that's dope. That song, again, is called Hollywood. It's on Jaguar 2. Please check that out. And that is all I have, y'all. Thank y'all so much again for listening and watching. I appreciate it. Please remember, if you're watching, like, subscribe, share. If you're listening, go ahead and give me 5 stars somewhere, and go watch my YouTubers. Go listen to my episodes. I would really appreciate that. Give me some download streams and all that good stuff. Again, thank y'all for hanging with me. I appreciate y'all. Talk to y'all later. Peace out.